Good afternoon, good morning, and good night.
Oh, Lord. We'll give a few minutes for folks to drop in here. Then we'll get the party started. Just to get some boilerplate shit out of the way. Just to be clear, for those of you who enjoy safe spaces, are confused about your gender identity, and think that the truth is hate speech.
Hang on a second. I've been saying for years I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body.
Well, I can't help you there, brother. I feel your plight, though. That being said, anything we say or discuss on here is merely for entertainment purposes only. This is merely a couple of like-minded folks having a discussion about whatever the hell's on the radar for them and voicing their opinion. If you don't agree with it, change the channel. Find a pacifier. Get a fifth of Jack Daniels. I don't care.
Or if you don't agree with it, keep tuning in. I promise you. We'll piss you off even more.
Yeah, we aim. That's one of our goals. We aggravate.
We aim to please.
That's it. We do not discriminate.
No, we are an equal opportunity pisser offer, and we are glad to do it.
And we're all card-carrying members of the Church of the Painful Truth, and we're glad to share that with you. But that being said, we're not here trying to instill any kind of negative government empathy or any kind of illegal activity or violence or any of that horse shit. So just tell you, brown shirts sitting at Facebook and the fact checkers on fucking people. Y'all sit back down, sip your lattes. Don't get your panties in a bunch. All right, so Moose, how's things been in your end of the world, brother?
I can't really complain. It's actually been really interesting. Because over the weekend I got a gift, and I'm like, I'm finally going to get to know the answer.
All right.
The minute he signed that pardon for his son, given the dates that he gave, I was like, I'm going to find out whose cocaine it was for sure. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're all asking that question. Whose was it? Was it Hunter's or was it Scamalato's? I mean, she acts like she's tweaking on something every time you see her, but who knows? There's a couple different rumors. One, of course, is that it's Hunter's. He likes Coke. But then the other one was that they believe it might have been smuggled in there for Scamalato because of the way she's always seemed like she's never really been, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. She always seems squirrely, for lack of a better term. And she was definitely coming untethered towards the end. I think she's still untethered, but that just goes to show what kind of a flake she was to begin with.
Well, last I heard, it was like $2.5 billion to lose a campaign, and they still don't know where the bottom is.
No, and
I still can't figure that out.
Well, what did she do with all the fucking money?
Well, got paid her friends to get rich. That's what.
Talk about corruption. But, let's jump back for a minute to the whole being not guilty and presidential pardon and all that good shit. I remember them talking about if Trump did this, that, or the other, and Trump was going to do this, that, or the other, the Biden crime family and this fucking group in Washington are doing the very thing they continuously but accused Trump of doing. They're doing the very thing they're preaching.
Said Trump would do.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was Trump, day one, Every patriot that's sitting in a fucking jail cell behind January 6th
Oh, I'd be like,
that
pardon,
did not
blanket.
do anything as far as attack or tearing shit up or whatever. They were just there. Pardon.
Oh, I'd
Booting
be,
the fuck out.
pardon, pardon.
Yeah.
Oh, you were in Maryland that day, visiting some sites. Pardon, just for going to see that site. I mean,
Yep.
I'd have just a rubber stamp. Pardon, pardon, pardon.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And I'd encourage every one of those motherfuckers. They've been mistreated in jail. Sue the living shit out of DC. Sue them. Bury the motherfuckers in paper.
I'd be more than that, but okay.
Well, I mean, you see what I'm saying? If I pardoned them, I'd say, now you need to get you an attorney and turn around and go after these corrupt fucks, every one of them. Light them up. Get a class action suit against them. Get them. Just say.
You gotta kind of look at it from this angle. They've been, in my opinion, unduly detained for an unreasonable amount of time, which goes against everything in the Constitution. And their Constitution rights weren't just violated; it was just like they didn't have it.
Right.
I mean,
it's like they're in Guantanamo.
At least at Gitmo, those guys, got out eventually.
Yep. Well, I mean, like I said, it's time for all these corrupt ass bureaucrats and politicians, all these fuckers who are trying to do this, I go after them. I mean, ultimately, what you should do, use the Rittenhouse method. Everybody got on there on TV and slung mud and defamed you and attacked your character because you were there on January 6th, or you were a terrorist, or you were this, you were that. If they said that on national television and you've got a copy of it, sue them.
That was not Rittenhouse. That was White, whatever his name was. That was that teenager that was there in Washington, D.C., and the Indian. And they were trying to say that the teenager provoked the Indian and all that, saying racial stuff. Come to find out, none of that was true. He sued CNN and a couple of other agency TV places, and he won, but he signed an NDA, so no one knows for how much. But I imagine it was well over 6-7 figures.
Well, Rittenhouse is doing the same thing. He's going after all those people got up there, and he's got a bunch of slander lawsuits out there against like key people, movie stars and shit, if I'm not mistaken. Do your own research. That's what I understood was going on. Not trying to spread any mistruth or half truth, but I understood, he was cycling through. And he should. Yeah. I mean, he beat it. To me, he should have never been on trial to begin with.
No, that was clear-cut self-defense. I mean,
yeah, and you had thugs trying to kill him.
The minute you chase somebody, you become the aggressor. And I mean, that's textbook 101.
Well, but the most important message here from the whole thing that happened, where Rittenhouse had to defend himself, what's the most important thing you took from that altercation that night?
Well, that defending your life isn't that you can't do it.
No. Never bring a skateboard to a gunfight.
Oh yeah, well, that too.
Just saying. I mean, all being said for Rittenhouse, I was very impressed. For a kid with zero training, well, I mean, maybe he had shot a gun before, but that so much was cool as a cucumber under stress. Do you remember those videos of him? I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's like a boss.
I mean, I watched it live that night, and I was like, "Did I just see what I think I just saw?" And I rewound it. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he was trying to remove himself from the situation. The aggressors came at him, and they attacked him. And when they did, he did not fire until he was on the ground, and he had no other choice.
Yeah. I mean, he did everything you're supposed to do. They pursued him. He was in fear for his life and being inflicted bodily harm. I mean, he was completely justified. And he even, after it happened, went and sought out the Kenosha police to turn himself in. What happened? Now, does that sound like the actions of somebody who was a militant fucktard? No. I mean, sounds to me like a law-abiding kid.
Well, I mean, everything. If you would have done your research on him, you would have found out he was there that day, like cleaning up graffiti, and
Yep.
he was a swim guard or some lifeguard or something at the city pool, volunteered a lot. I mean, he wasn't just some kid that sat home and played video games.
No.
He actually was active in his community.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
took pride in his community.
Right. Absolutely. Well, going back to our favorite first son. Yes, he did. Highlander, good to see you, brother. He's absolutely right. He did clear a jam while he was on the move. You know, I don't think Biden is the one who thought to clear his son. I think somebody advised him to do it because they're afraid that if he didn't give him a pardon, as soon as Trump's legal team gets in there, as soon as his DOJ pick or whoever comes in and they start shit canning all these bottom feeding pieces of shit in charge of all these different agencies, they were going to rip the Biden crime family a new asshole.
Well,
so if he could,
I think he kind of fell short, showing that he's not really as smart as he thinks he is. You know, he should have also pardoned his brother.
Well, who's to say he won't? Who's to say he won't? He's still got days in office. I mean, he could do a lot of shit between now and January. But I think he did it because he was they're like the Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is. I'll be glad when her dumb ass gets booted. She said, well, part of the reason she said part of the reason they pardoned him was because they didn't think the Trump administration would let it go. Why the fuck should we let it go? They've been chewing at his fucking ankles for 10 years.
Well, no, they said he was unjustly persecuted because of his last name being Biden.
No, he was never unjustly persecuted. He was prosecuted because he's a fucking crackhead that broke the fucking law and was a bottom feeding piece of shit that rode on his daddy's coattails, who's also a bottom feeding piece of shit, and thought he was above the fucking law. I mean, remember when he got the gun violation? They buried that?
Yeah.
If that'd been one of us, we'd been in federal pen for life.
Well, I would have just paid money to have been at their Thanksgiving dinner. Because, I mean, I imagine it probably went something along like this. Hey, Dad, are you going to get me that pardon? Because if you don't, I'm going to go in and have a chat with this guy called the prosecutor. And, maybe get a little time taken off my sentence. And I have a feeling, maybe immunity, But here's one thing you got to think about. He may have got a pardon, but it's not expunged from his record.
True.
You haven't thought about that, have you?
Well, I mean, you got to be careful when you pardon somebody because it's hard to do a blanket pardon. So if he's trying to basically shore up a loose end, there's a lot of loose ends to cover, and he only can pardon him. Help me to understand this because I may not fully grasp it. If you're pardoned, that would be for anything you've committed that you've been charged with, right?
Depending on the pardon you receive, yes.
Well, I mean, how can you
Let's say,
pardon
let's say, for
somebody for
example,
something they haven't been convicted of?
let's say, for example, me and you start robbing banks, okay?
Right.
And you know, we get busted, we go to jail, all that, and while we're in jail, they pardon us, and we get a pardon for one of the bank robberies that we committed, even though we committed 4. We'll just say 4, but
Right.
we were convicted of 3.
Right.
Well, we still got the other 2 on our record.
Right.
You know, it depends what kind of pardon you got. If you get like a pass, which he got like the biggest pardon you could get. You know,
Well,
from this date to this date, any criminal activity is, you know, null and void.
okay, but so if it was something that was never known and they find out he did it, you're saying if it was between those 2 dates, he's completely null and void, right?
Yep.
See, I don't understand how you can do that. That's like an overreach to me.
That's the way the pardons work. Because, I mean, they could come in and say, you know what, we're going to pardon you for that one bank robbery. Okay. And then you get out of jail and go on.
I understand that, but I just don't understand how his bed-shitting father has the authority to give him the kind of pardon he did. Because you're basically pardoning him for all the fuckery that he's been hiding all these years.
If I'm not mistaken, and I'd have to go back and do some serious reading here, and, you know, reading isn't my strong suit. If I'm not mistaken, he got like the granddaddy of pardons, okay? That
Right.
was the biggest pardon that a president can give. Is that because he can't go back further, I think, than 10 years.
Well, I mean, there's always ways to sink a ship. And while he may have fixed that hole, that leak, there's other places, like you said. I mean, if they go after the brother for after the fact being involved in shit, because you know that whole family's crooked as hell.
Oh, yeah.
They all are. I mean, go after his son's wife, who Biden was dry humping or whatever, and go at her about shit she might be involved in or money or whatever. Throw the DOJ and fuck all of them. I mean, that's what I do. Anybody who is not pardoned by the time bed shitter goes out of office, free and clear. Get them. I mean, put the DOJ on them, give them a IRS enema.
You know, I'd be looking at, like I said, Jim Biden. I'd be looking at, you know, Hunter's sister, Ashley Biden, I think's her name. I'd be looking at all those people right now with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
And going, all right, you know, it's there. Who was the other person that Joe just conveniently left out while he's doing the smoke screen look over here? You know, at the obvious one.
Well, my thinking is if you hit them with a with an approach where you try to hit them from all these different angles, like all these different people you know have got their hands in shit, or they've either been influenced or they've been, I guess, they've gotten some benefit. Like the sister, hell, go after the wife. I mean, his mom. All of them free and clear. I mean, all of them. The only person you probably can't directly go after his bed shitter, because he probably won't remember his name once he gets out of office. And since Hunter
remember
is,
that FBI when they went in and interviewed him, they said, you know, we would charge him, but he's so old and you know elderly or something. You know, there's something along those lines.
yeah, but they were more than happy to go after fucking Trump how many times?
Well, that's because Trump's not old and elderly.
Well, but it's the same difference. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
So that's my whole argument. I mean, everything they've done to Trump, Trump should do to them.
Well, I agree 100%.
And but the difference is he should get them. I mean, he should make it where the news is dominated by their fuckery every day. And you know, they single-handedly in the course of 4 years during his administration, look how fucked up our country is. Take 2019. Okay.
All right.
And you know what? Don't even take 2019. Let's go to 2018 because let's go before COVID. All right, before any of that COVID bullshit, because that was some dirty shit too, but we're not going to get into that right now. Let's go to 2018 and compare it to 2023. Okay? Or 2024. Look at the vast difference of our society, our economics, everything. You cannot honestly say you're in a better place financially, you're in a better place spiritually, a better place in any way, such shape, or form. This past administration, or his current administration rather, has fucked the American people at our own expense and didn't give two shits about it. They tried to fucking corrupt your schools. They tried to corrupt the kids. They tried to corrupt everything about our life by making the LGBTQ F16 QRS TUV whatever the fuck month. They tried. I mean, they've done everything to force every kind of fucking deviancy to be the norm. Half his fucking cabinet don't know what they are. They're cross-dressing fucking deviants. Am I wrong?
No. I mean, you got that one person in his cabinet that wears that military uniform or something. I don't think they're in the military.
They're like Health and Human Services or something.
Yeah, and it's a dude. You know.
But have you ever seen a picture of him and his family, or it and his family?
To be honest with you, I've never really cared.
They all look fucked up. I've seen a group picture of them, and you can tell that none of those apples fell far from the fucking tree.
Huh.
It's bad.
I'll
be an asshole here, and I'm gonna say that would be a great poster for abstinence. Maybe their birth control. This is what can happen if you drink too much vodka.
All right.
Go look the picture up. You'll see how fucked up they look.
I don't need a nightmare tonight, so.
I'm just.
I
mean, but anyways, I digress. Some other things, you know, I caught a brief thing this morning. I didn't look into it, unfortunately. I haven't had time to really research it, but something about South Korea invoking martial law because of the opposing party, something to do with, I don't know if it's an election or what was going on. I have to look more into that. Anytime an ally has to impose martial law, that kind of worries me, especially in that region of the world with all, you know, with China and everything going on, North Korea, you know, that kind of puts me on edge. Have you heard anything about that?
I hadn't really looked at the news today, so, but I mean, hearing you tell me that is the first I've heard of it. But then again, like I said, I hadn't really done a deep dive into what's going on in the world today either. So,
let's see here. Apparently, it was for a brief amount of time. I'm gonna go to the BBC because I don't trust anything here in the United States. Let's see. Apparently, it was only for a few hours and it was lifted. um, says it's the first time martial law was declared in that Asian democracy in over 50 years. And basically, Yoon Suk Yeol, if I'm pronouncing this right, is the one who called for the, I guess, mentioned the anti-state forces, and they were a threat from North Korea, and they won martial law. But it says it soon became clear that it had not been spurred by external threats, but by his own desperate political troubles. Still, it prompted thousands of people to gather at Parliament and protest, while opposition lawmakers rushed there to push through an emergency vote to remove the measure. And defeated, Yoon emerged a few hours later to accept the Parliament's vote and lift the martial law order. So, I don't know a lot about South Korea's politics, but it sounds to me like somebody thought they were about to lose their ass and was trying to pull a Biden.
Yeah. But also, you got to look who's to the north of them. And that could have been a little play in it, too.
Well, I mean, it could be a lot of things. Just wait for something else to watch. Ironically, I've not heard anything out of Taiwan or China in a while. It could be that there's still shit going on. It's just our news cycle's not covering it. Everything seems to be focused on Putin's bad, Trump is the Antichrist in the White House. I did see a funny thing today about the Democrats. Some of them are bitching and saying that they would like to secede and become part of Canada.
Ah.
Now, let me roll back the tape here.
Hang on 1 second. Did you hear what Justin Trudeau said to Trump and what Trump said back to him?
No.
All right, Trudeau apparently flew down yesterday and had supper or lunch with, Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
And he said, Trump told him he was going to put a 25% tariff, on their stuff and this, that, and the other. And he said, if you do that, that's going to cost us $100 billion. That's going to bankrupt our country. And Trump looked at him and said, and didn't miss a beat, they said Trump looked straight at him and said, well, if $100 million is going to bankrupt your country, why don't you just become our 51st state? Or we could break it into two. You have the liberal side and the conservative side and be a 51st, 52nd state.
Oh, gotta love Trump.
I was like, oh my God, that is, oh.
Well, I mean, that's just hilarious, But if I remember correctly, he said the same thing to the president of Mexico, and didn't they agree to immediately stop the caravans and shit?
Oh, yeah.
Because they saw the writing on the walls. Okay, this guy isn't some propped up piece of shit that they got now, and he's going to actually do shit. And if he starts hitting all our junk with 25% tariffs, we're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And look, I'm all for free trade and getting along with your neighbors and, having an economy that works for everybody. That's great.
But don't bend me over a barrel and then tell me it's raining.
No, I agree. One of the things that's always pissed me off is like, I'm in the market trying to get this is just an example. It's one of my peeves. I'm in the market trying to get ready to get another vehicle, another truck. Well, all the fucking trucks now have got this damn variable valve bullshit in them, or you can't find a V8. Either way, you're fucked. So the way I understand it, all the manufacturers did it to meet EPA guidelines. This is some bullshit that I think Obama's Maximus put in. But it's basically to conserve fuel and emissions. puts more strain on the fucking engine. And basically what happens when you're riding down the road, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a mechanic, in some cases the vehicle will cut off like a stoplight and cut on and you can pull off. But like when you're on the interstate or something, going to set speed, half the valves will cut off. And then when you have a need to accelerate, pull, whatever, they'll cut on. Well, this is all like I said, EPA bullshit. And I'll get to my point. We're setting all these ridiculous EPA guidelines, strangling the fucking auto market, making it where you can't find a decent fucking truck with an 8-cylinder in it. And yet countries like China, who are not held to the same standards, they're giving all these different breaks, but they're a superpower.
You hadn't figured out the game yet?
Well, I mean,
it's do what we say and shut up and do it.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying if China had to follow the same fucking guidelines we do, you know, they couldn't do what they do.
Well, I agree 100% with you, but again, I'm going to say China's also what, like first or second in the world in like as far as air quality, like the dirtiest air in the world. You know,
yeah.
And they're saying they're demanding all these other countries fix theirs before China has to fix, you know. And I'm like, all right, dude, at this point, I think I would tell you to go pound sand until you start kind of showing me that you're anywhere remotely serious. And, you know, we're going to go do what we want to do.
Right. I mean, it's. I guess my point is that we're being held to standards, just shit that makes no sense, and basically puts you in a position where, excuse me, I'm sorry, puts you in a position where you're spending all this money to buy a vehicle that's potentially going to have major problems down the road because of this fucking EPA bullshit. If you disable it or reprogram it, you void your warranty. And this is all because we're being held to a standard no fucking body else is. All right?
Yeah.
And let's just be clear. The sun gets hotter periodically. Hence, the earth gets hotter periodically. It doesn't matter whether cows fart, people drive cars, or any other fucking bullshit. Shit will melt when stuff gets hotter. That's a given. They've been saying that the fucking ice caps are going to melt for 50 fucking years. By now, we should all be on boats. Like in, what was that fucking movie with Kevin Costner? Waterworld. I mean, fucking A. The way they talk, that's how we're all supposed to be living now. We didn't fuck the planet. But yet, all these fucking global elites and shit, they hop in their fucking G5s and fly all over the fucking place and leave a carbon footprint the size of Milwaukee. But we need to drive electric shit and not be able to charge it because our infrastructure's fucked up, and then have to go get a gas generator to charge the motherfucker.
Wait a minute. Waterworld wasn't a realistic movie?
Do what?
Waterworld was not a realistic movie?
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't a realistic movie.
You mean Hollywood lied? Oh.
Hey, man, you know, maybe it was just a one-time thing, you know.
I mean, surely.
Well, you know, Hollywood's kind of there to help the sheeple introduce them to shit that's gonna happen. Like Hollywood, see, the whole way the entertainment industry works. Yes, I'm going down a rabbit hole. The sheeple can't grasp or can't deal with certain things. So what happens is the people in Hollywood will give it to them in little bits until they accept it as the norm. See, it all works perfectly. I mean, look at how they've done violence and all this deviancy and shit. You can't turn on the TV without seeing something. Now, look, I'm a fan of John Wick. I want to see that motherfucker shoot people.
Oh, well, by the way, while we're on the subject of Hollywood, Gladiator 2, highly recommend.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. But what I was saying, Hollywood's there to basically desensitize us from things that we should pay attention to. And as soon as you get a bunch of people in Hollywood trying to, white men for Scameltoe and shit like that, that shows you what you're dealing with right there. They're part of the fucking problem, not part of the solution. And any opinion they fucking got is made from an ivory tower so far away from fucking reality that they're on Quaaludes trying to come down to our level. So whatever they got to say, you need to fucking ignore.
Hang on a second. You mean George Clooney is not an expert on everything?
He thinks he's an expert on everything. But what it is his ego's so fucking big, that's how he rolls. And I used to like him as an actor, and then he started running his fucking mouth. It's like, dude, you need to find a rock, climb under it. I used to like a lot of actors, but when they start running their mouth about the political views and how we, the people, need to fucking behave, fuck you. You're 1% of 1%, and you're trying to tell me, the working man, how I'm supposed to fucking live and appreciate shit? Fuck you. You play make-believe all fucking day. What the fuck? And you're going to tell me how I need to fucking live? Nah. Screw you and your Bentley. I mean, it is what it is. But I apologize for us not being on much in the past few weeks. It's just been kind of hectic between everybody's schedules. But hopefully we'll get back on the horse, try to get on some kind of regularity here before too long. Saxman has some stuff to take care of, or else he would have been here with us tonight to muddy the waters further. Before I forget, I don't think we've done a live since we won the election, if I'm not mistaken.
We have not done a live since the election, and I've been waiting so I could gloat, and you took that away from me, asshole.
Well, what I would like to do is take a moment just to thank God and our Lord and Savior that He felt that we needed to have one more chance to right this ship before it went in the ship. This is our chance, people. We need to make things happen. We need to hold people accountable and fix this government, fix this nation, so it'll be here for generations to come and not be a deviant paradise piece of shit like another third world country, because that's where it's headed. So it's time to put up or shut up. Just my thoughts.
Well, we got essentially about 18 months. You can say, oh, no, we got 4 years. No, we don't. We got about 18 months. From the minute Trump says, so help me God, to right the ship.
Yeah.
Because we may not have the House and the Senate and all that other. And, So,
well, if he gets something done before that happens, we have a chance. I mean, right now, what needs to happen is people need to get to work that are elected representatives of the people. And if they don't want to get to work, they need to call them out, and people need to hold them accountable. If you're voting for somebody just because they're a Democrat or they're a Republican and they're not doing their fucking job, you need to shit can them.
Or you need to do this.
Because all they're doing is sitting up there being another parasite on the government team. That's all they're doing. And you've got some there right now, that's exactly how they are. And they're on both sides of the fence, or both sides of the aisle. And personally, they need to fucking go, but you got to have somebody with balls to do it. I don't know if Trump's going to have the ability to make anything happen like that. You need term limits, and you need accountability. They need to abolish the DNC and the RNC. There shouldn't be a party to hide behind. It should be the individual.
Well, George Washington himself said that two-party system will never work.
Nope.
So, and I think he got a point.
Well, okay, here's a classic example. Whenever you're doing a major legal document or some kind of setting, let's say you're setting up a will or you're setting up a trust or you're doing different major decisions, you never have only two people, if you can help it, that make the decision. Because of this very reason right here. All they do is this. All right? If you have three, you've got a tiebreaker. See what I'm saying? So if one wants to go one way and the other wants to go this way, the third one can say, you know what? This person's right, that person's right. Same thing with the Supreme Court. That's why you got 9 judges.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the crazy thing is they want to pack the Supreme Court where eventually somebody's going to have to walk into the 50-yard line, stand center field, and argue a case amongst 100,000 Supreme Court justices, you know, and all that.
Well,
imagine having to write that brief.
Well, the thing that blows my mind is the junior Supreme Court justice, Kamaji, whatever the hell her name is, I can't pronounce it. She's the one that they asked her in a Senate hearing I don't remember what it was. They had her on Capitol Hill, and she said she wasn't qualified to define what a woman was. But yet you made this person a fucking Supreme Court justice.
You know,
and she's a fucking female.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. She's a woman, and she couldn't tell you, you know, what a female was. And I'm sitting there going, you know, I'm not a very educated man, but, you know, I mean, I'd like to say that I have opened a book before, and I could answer that question, you know, and I'm not a judge.
She knew the answer. She just was pandering to the party that put her there.
Honestly, I don't think she could have answered it, but okay, if you say so.
Well, I mean, my guess is she used feminine pads and makeup. So she probably knows what a woman is, because I'll bet you $50 on her fucking birth certificate doesn't say it. So that being said, but hey, I could be wrong. Maybe she uses a tuckable. Who knows? So, but you know, you can't make this silly shit up. The current administration created the most fucked up, Looney Tune, ass backwards shit they could come up with. If it was something dumb or fucking deviant or just fucking retarded, they ran with it. And they wanted the American people to roll over and take it in the ass and smile while it was happening.
White towel.
And I mean, that's why they got the red wave this time. They found out the hard way. But instead of learning from what they did, they're doing this shit. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. She did it. He did it. Your whole fucking party did it. You were all complacent in trying to force this narrative down the American people's throat and fucking bankrupt the working class. And they gave you the big fuck you.
Well,
and it wasn't limited to the white guy. The Hispanic, the Asian, the black, the Middle Eastern, whatever. We all gave you the finger. What I find funny, I don't know where you're at, but I've still got people out here with their damn Harris signs in their yard, and I just want to chuckle. It's like, it ain't going to change. I mean, you can stand up there and stare at that motherfucker all day long. She lost.
Dude, I haven't seen one try that.
Oh, they're all over
the election. So
they're all over out here. I can't. Yeah. Normally, I would. Well, normally something might catastrophically happen to them, but since they're in people's yards, you know, just saying. But you know, accidents happen. People People reach, for straight French fry in their floorboard when they're going by them, things like that. It happens. But what I'm seeing, you can't really, hadn't seen that happen. There's a lot of them, though. I was doing work in a neighborhood and saw a bunch of them. It's like, y'all lost. Have a barbecue, cry on each other's shoulder, move on. Y'all lost. Because that's what we had to fucking hear. And we know what happened in the last election. Now, I'm not going to say nothing because I don't get us flagged, but we all know what happened. But if we said anything about it, y'all need to just accept it. Y'all lost. We have more votes than anybody in history. He got more votes than Obama's Maximus.
You're an election denier.
Yeah, but now they're that, but it's okay. I've never seen anybody with two sets of fucking rules. I mean, these motherfuckers are hilarious. Man, what are you doing? Are you getting into a bag of fucking Doritos on the live, or what is it you got going on over there?
Oh, I'm getting some medicine out I got to take.
All right. I'm just giving you shit. I mean, you can do what you want, dude. I had to ask because you're making me hungry.
Yeah, I was trying to kind of be quiet about it without having to keep hitting mute, not all that.
You're fine. I'm just giving you a hard time. But going back to everything, I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, for the past 3.5 years, we've all been on pins and needles because the economy and the country was going into shit. Praying to God every day, hoping that he'll step in, right the ship, and give us opportunity to fix things. And now that that's been given to us, I asked her, I said, well, do you feel any different? He said, well, kind of. I said, well, what it is, I said, where I'm having a problem is now that he won and that's behind us, it's like a big weight off our shoulders because we know at least we got a little bit of breathing room now to try and fix things.
Oh, I'm not going to lie to you, dude. I cried that night, and it wasn't like, tears of this. It was tears of joy because I was like, my kid is going to have a future.
Right.
He has a chance to have a future in this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I was psyched about. And all right, but continue.
Well, what I told her was, I said, the thing is, I'm the same way, it's great. We've been given this opportunity. Now we breathe a little bit easier. But two things. One, he's not in office yet. And two, you don't want to become complacent. That's what got us where we're at. You got to stay vigilant. You got to pay attention. Because if you don't, we're going to have worse shape. Don't think just because our candidate got in there, everything's going to be, gravy train on biscuit wheels. We got to do the work. They've got to do the work. And, that's what I'm saying. Pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to everything because this is where shit falls on the sidelines, and the next thing you know, you're right back where you were at. I truly believe this time with Trump, he learned from his first time when he got in there.
Oh, you can tell, man. It's night and day.
Yeah,
this time, I think the first time when he got elected in 2016, what was it? How many days after the election did he make before he announced his first cabinet appointee?
Yeah.
And then I think it was the next day he announced 3. He's not wasting any time.
Nope. And this time he doesn't have a bunch of career politicians working with him. He's going after young blood and people know what the fuck's going on. You can say what you want about Elon Musk. And you may or may not like him. He has some views people might not agree with. But if you let him and Vivek get in there and run that department like they're supposed to, all this bullshit where our money's being wasted, research on how dildos affect camels in Southeast Asia.
Don't forget about cocaine and gerbils.
Yeah. All that bullshit. That's out the window. And it needs to be. We shouldn't be, because what it is, we spend this money on these stupid ass things to line the pockets of other politicians and people influencing the politicians. If you're paying for some fucked up research that has nothing to do with the United States, most likely somebody involved with that research is either related to a politician or is related to somebody who's a big donor to a politician. So it's all about lining each other's pockets and staying in power and staying rich. That shit needs to stop. You're not in the fucking public service as a politician to serve the people who elected you to get yourself fucking rich. You're there to represent the people who put you in that office and to be their voice. You're supposed to be there and there.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Instead of, hey, I'm going to get elected, and then, on $150,000 a year salary for 2 years, which is $300,000, I'm going to serve 2 years and come out a multimillionaire.
Exactly. With a lifetime salary.
Yeah.
No, see, all that bullshit needs to stop. But see, here's the thing: in order to put in term limits and shit like that, the politicians will fight it because most of them are there for that very thing. They're there to manipulate the system and get rich. And see, that's where you get screwed, because what he's envisioning, what he wants to do is exactly what needs to happen. To me, no senator or congressman, man or woman, should be able to serve more than, because their terms are 4 years or 6.
Senator 6, congressman is 2.
Okay. If congressman's 2, I would say neither one.
What I say is, and this is just me thinking, okay? I'm like, all right, our president, he serves 2 4-year terms.
Yep.
All right, then he's out. Senator, 2 terms. That's it, 12 years. Congressman, they can serve 10 years. After that, they're out.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what I was about to say. And as far as all these foreign entities that are donors and stuff, see, you shouldn't have private companies coming in and try, like, look at all the companies that tried to go woke and tried to push an agenda. These CEOs and stuff who tried to step up like these billionaires and whatnot. Now, I know this blows back on Elon, but in Elon's defense, he never really tried to push a political agenda, in my opinion, or push an opinion rather, because he was already contracted for the government, because NASA's defunct, because Obama's Maximus defunded all that shit because he didn't feel it was important to go to other planets and learn shit. He was more cool with social justice and us fucking around here and getting in trouble. So fuck space exploration. We don't need it. And if a meteor hits Earth, it's okay. They've all got their bunkers. Little people will be fine. But you've got a lot of people in power, whether they run big pharma, whether they run financial districts, whatever, and you know what I'm talking about. A lot of these people steer politics and steer people that control these countries and these different things. You need to find a way to stop that shit. Remove that power. And I hope that Vivek and Elon are able to find a way to get to the bottom of all this corruption.
Oh, I did. I wasn't accurate. We've had one show since the election, and because we were talking about like Senate confirmations and all that, and I made the prediction then, and I was right. I said Matt Gaetz will be the one that I think is going to be the biggest battle, and
You're right.
and now I think the next one, I think he'll get confirmed and all that, but I think Kash Patel is going to be the one that all eyes are going to be on.
Okay.
You know, because I mean, in my opinion, I think Kash knows where the bodies are buried, who buried them there, and when they were buried.
Yep. I personally really got a kick out of the ICE guy that they're bringing back to handle, I guess, head up Homeland Security. Or, if I'm thinking of the right guy, what was his name? He's a former director of ICE. They brought him back.
Oh, Tom Horn, or yeah, I know you're talking about, and he flat out don't give a damn.
Yeah, they asked him something about, well, don't you feel that deporting people, breaking up families is, unfair? And he said, oh, don't worry, we won't about how we'll deport the whole family.
Yeah, we're not,
I mean, hey, that's what you need to do.
And
if it was any other fucking country, it'd be the same thing. Get the fuck out.
And see, here's the other thing. I'm just like, you dumb fucks. You don't think that when a man goes out and commits a crime and then goes home to his wife and kids and then gets caught for said crime and he has to, quote, go away to prison, isn't that kind of breaking up the household there?
One would think. One would think. Well, who knows what
as Forrest Gump would say, I'm not a smart man, but I would think that would kind of fall under the same guidelines, especially if, let's say, the crime carried, the death penalty.
Yeah. Well, a lot of states here, they don't believe in death penalty. It's inhumane. Let them rape your daughter and see how you feel.
I used to be like 100% for the death penalty. You never gonna talk me out of it. I was one of those guys. And then I learned a few things. And after I learned a few things, I am anti-death penalty. And I'm not for it for the reasons you think.
Okay.
I mean, I am against the death penalty 100%. And until they come up with a cheaper way to house these death row inmates, you're not ever going to change my mind, because I don't want my tax dollars going to house a guy for 10 or 15 years and then put him to death when we can put him in there for life for, a fraction of the price.
Well, here's the thing, and I get where you're coming from, and I can appreciate it. There's a simple way to fix all this. If you're convicted of a capital crime where you murdered somebody or did something heinous, you got one appeal. One. And if you don't get the appeal, they're going to drag your ass behind the damn penitentiary and put you in front of a brick fucking wall with some backstops and 3 motherfuckers standing out there with damn bolt action rifles. Guess what's about to happen to you? So for the total fucking cost of a couple dollars of ammunition and, maybe the fuel for the backhoe when they throw you in a fucking hole, hey, we just streamlined that shit.
Well, like I said, I agree with you on that, but
that's how you need to do it. You need to stop those pussyfooting.
I'm against. I am against the death penalty.
I get it. I'm again. If you putting people in jail forever. I understand what you're trying to achieve, I guess, but it's a zero-sum game. You're putting a criminal away for life. That's great, but now you got to house, feed, clothe, and medicate these fuckers for the rest of their life on our dime.
Yeah, and
if they did something that fucking bad, they're not a functional member of society.
if I remember, this was like 20 years ago. I was reading all this, but it was like I was sitting there, I was reading it, and it was, I want to say it came out to about $10,000 or $12,000 a year to house an inmate for life,
Right.
opposed to $85,000 a year to put him on death row.
But that's the whole point. You shouldn't be doing either one.
And then by the time you actually put that criminal to death or have carried out the death penalty, you've spent a couple of $1 million.
Yes, you have. But again, I go back to what I said. If you've got somebody you got to put away for life, they're not going to be a functional member of society.
No.
Okay?
No.
So that's another mortal mass of society, and you need to remove it. Again, one appeal, nix that shit. Make them into fertilizer. Give the families closure, move on. I guarantee you start doing that shit, watch crime drop. You'll have to close fucking prisons because you won't be able to get enough prisoners.
Huh.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know. I mean,
if you start ventilating these motherfuckers left and right, they're on death row, and then they're in prison for fucking life for whether it was whatever it was they did. Tell me I'm wrong. Is it harsh? Yeah. But what they did was apparently harsh.
I don't know. I kind of like the Wild West days where everybody come to town for the hanging.
I'm cool with that. But see, then you got to buy rope.
Well, the thing about rope is you can reuse it.
Yeah, but you got to build gallows and shit. And those men, you got to upkeep them fuckers. If you put them behind the wall and 3 guys stand there and shoot at them, I mean, use 223, fuck, you're out $1.
Yeah, but the problem there, you can
only you can reload it
so many times before you again start having to maintain it and stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
so,
build a big sandburn behind them or something.
I just like the gallows,
Look, I'm all for the gallows. I personally think that and the guillotine, they're both great.
Yeah, the guillotine, you get a little mess. Then you got to pay a cleanup crew and stuff like that.
Not really. You just have some rats. Or goats. Pigs. All of them will eat that shit. So, I mean, there's ways around that. You can make it biodegradable. All right, I'm sorry. I got way off in the weeds here.
But, yeah, we got off on death penalty.
But
yeah, so now you know why I'm against the death penalty. There's no moral reason in there at all.
No, it's all financial, and I totally understand.
And, I mean, I'm just like, I'm sorry. I work too hard for my money.
Right.
I pay my taxes for y'all just to squander it, housing a guy that committed a crime and was convicted of the crime and is put to death and has an endless amount of appeals. Well,
that's what I'm saying. You got to put a ceiling on that shit.
Not an endless amount, but a pretty good amount of appeals that he's going to go through. I think the only one that didn't really appeal anything, and I think he appealed once, was just because his lawyers kind of made him, was Timothy McVeigh.
Okay.
I mean, that was like the quickest one that I can remember.
Well, maybe we'll get some, I guess it'd be judicial revamping. We'll see. With that being said, brother, I'm going to let you have some closing remarks. Share some pearls of wisdom before we bail out of here tonight.
Pearls are white. The rare ones get black. Like that kind of wisdom.
Whatever kind of wisdom you want to drop on them, brother.
Oh, okay.
As long as it doesn't get us flagged.
Oh. Well, I mean, don't shit where you eat. That's a good one right there. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, don't trust your government. saying the most scariest words in the English language. I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Ronald Reagan said it true.
So,
all right. Well, thank you, brother. All powerful things for people to take to heart. My first thing, I'm sorry. First and foremost, I don't know how many you can see my thumb. When using a power tool, such as a drill, hammer drill, etc., try not to hit your thumb.
why would you do that?
I had an accident. Glanced off a screw and it went in the side of my thumb and out the tip. It was good times.
It sounds like it was a hoot.
Dude, let me tell you, I didn't realize how bad it was until after I took it out from under the water and saw all the splits and holes. I'm going, shit, didn't hurt that bad. But yeah, be careful with power tools. The other thing I'm going to say is, look, it's getting close to Christmas for those of you who celebrate it. Hopefully most people here do. Be careful out there. Pay attention to your surroundings, what you're doing. Don't go wandering around with a bunch of shit you bought. Don't leave it laying out where it can be seen in your vehicle. If you're going multiple places, shit like that, use your head, cover shit up, put it in the trunk. Don't carry a purse, women, if you can help it. We just had somebody local here get held up, an elderly woman in a Family Dollar. Granted, it was a hood rat probably, but she was confronted by a thug on an aisle. When it was just her and the thug put a gun to her and said, "Give me your purse." Personally, I would be totally cool with the elderly woman putting a bullet in the son of a bitch, but I understand, so just be smart out there, be careful, and let's go into this holiday season all safe and healthy and full of good cheer now that we have a chance to get the country back on track.
Question.
Yeah.
I can't tell my kid again that Christmas is canceled, and all that. Like I've been telling him for like the last 5 years, so I don't have to buy Christmas gifts.
Well, I mean, you can say, look, Christmas is canceled this year because Trump has not gotten office yet to fix the trade routes, but next year it's going to be on.
No, I can't just say that because that commits me to next year.
Okay, tell him once Trump gets in office, we'll see if things get better. What you think?
I have to think about that one because my youngin's pretty sharp. And, he'll come back and be like, So.
Well, I'll leave that for you to navigate, brother.
But
you will figure it out. I have faith.
I tried one year to get him to let's call off Christmas and then hit like the after Christmas sales. And, he didn't want to do that. And then we were in a store somewhere and I was like, see, you could have got 3 of those for the price of 1. And he's like, yeah, but playing with that one's been so much fun. So, see what I'm saying? I can't win if I try.
Well, put your mind to it. You'll figure it out, brother. I have faith. All right, folks. Thanks to all of you being here tonight. Sorry for the delay. We'll eventually get things back on schedule, depending on, like I said, work schedules seem to be conflicting a lot for us right now between me, Saxman, and Vanguard. But we'll see if we can't find some kind of happy medium. Until then, stay safe, stay vigilant, and we will see you on the flip side. Good night, everybody.
Good night.